All right, y'all. So let's get to it. We are at another episode of Hiphop.info the podcast. It's your girl Lechi, and we got a lot of things to cover today. I mean, a lot of things to cover. All right. So we just gonna go ahead and jump right into it. These Texas rappers, what's really going on out there in Texas? Okay. First of all, you got Texas rapper Sauce Walker, who was shot outside a Memphis hotel. He is hospitalized. He was shot in the leg. So to me, that sounds like a retaliation type of situation. Not for sure what the case is with that, you know what I'm saying? But he was definitely in some shit that he shouldn't have been in. And somebody has targeted him and shot his ass in the leg. Moving on, Yellow Beezy. Yeah, he was arrested and charged with murder in connection with the death of Texas artist Mo3. He was accused of hiring a hitman to kill Mo3 back in 2020. Someone was wearing a ski mask as they approached Mo3's car with a gun. BZ was also associated in a brawl with Chris Brown during the 11/11 tour in July of 2024. So this was against four men during that tour, where I guess him and Breezy, teamed up against these four men, whooping ass. And Chris Brown is, no stranger to whooping ass. So I digress, and allegedly I'll speak on that. But yeah, so that is a case that is ongoing right now with Yellow Beezy. And hold on, I said yellow Beezy. Okay. Anywho, it was already speculated that he was involved within this murder of Mo3. So now we're just getting to the nitty gritty of him actually being accused and charged with murder. So, we have that going on. Let me see here. Oh, yes. Hip hop world continues to mourn Texas rapper G Dollar, Lil Ronnie, and his 5-year-old daughter. Their funeral took place March 20th of this year. They were both shot and killed at a car wash in Forest Hill, Texas. One of the men who did this, Robinson, which is a sex offender as well, was found 200 miles out in Livingston, Texas, while Russell, the other person who was involved in this, is still on the run. So they do know the two people who were involved in this and who did this shooting and killed this man and his daughter. So I guess they're just at the point of trying to find them, locate them, and actually bring them in and charge them with this murder. The wife and mother of this guy and his daughter, she gave, a very inspiring eulogy at the funeral. And, condolences, my heart goes out to her. I couldn't fathom something like this happening to me and my son. And, the people that are left behind to mourn this tragic incident. So, I don't know what's going on with these Texas rappers out here, but they are going to have to get it together. Not only in Texas, rappers, period. It's more news and more deaths that have happened, but I don't really have time to collect all of the information and give that to you right now on this podcast. But we definitely have a lot more rappers who have gotten shot and who have died, and that we are mourning within the hip hop industry, in the hip hop world. So, my heart goes out to these rappers now. Reason why I backed up out of that thing, you know what I'm saying? I make my music, therapeutically, and I put it out there for whoever wants to hear it and wants to, dive into my personal life. That's where you get most of my personal life issues, through my music. But like as far as being in the actual industry and being a rap artist at that level, you know, like these celebrities are just falling off the map every day. And it's just crazy. You know, I don't know what's going on with the industry. I don't know what they got going on, like as far as I don't want to say Illuminati, but I don't know what they got going on as far as, you know, all of these people just falling off the map and passing away. You know, this is crazy. Is the mic on? Okay. I had to check my mic. But you know, my heart goes out to all of these artists, the families, the hip hop world, period. This shit is getting crazy out here, you know what I'm saying? So as Nas said, you better have yourself a gun. All right, moving on. We have some news, some more hip hop news. Valletta Wallace, Biggie's mother, finalized the sale of Biggie Smalls' catalog and masters to Primary Wave before she passed last February at the age of 72. So she passed, February 2024, and I'm not getting a specific date. But his catalog allegedly comprises of $100 million for publishing rights and between 30 to 50 million for master's rights. Primary Wave gets a cut of both splits. This company allegedly represents Prince, Bob Marley, Smokey Robinson, and Sly the Family Stone's catalogs. You know Biggie, man. Biggie's one of the greatest, you know. So I guess we can look at this as a fortunate incident, you know, that his catalog and his masters are being taken care of, and possibly by one of the best companies there is, since they are allegedly representing Prince and a few other heavy hitters in the game. You know, so still, you know, I hate that Biggie is not here to continue the legacy of him, especially everything that's going on with Diddy, you know what I'm saying? And I really wonder how he would be taking that if he was here today. But yeah, so that would be some fortunate news within the hip hop world right there. And prayers go out to the rest of his family, his kids, Faith, you know, everybody that held down Biggie from the jump. It's a lot that could be accused allegedly of his death, his passing, and his staple within the hip hop industry. You know, which we've all have speculated. There's been documentaries, there's been movies, etc., etc. You know, there's been people named as far as being involved in the takedown of Biggie and Tupac. You know, that was something in the hip hop world that will exist for centuries to come. But you know, fortunately his catalog and his masters are safe, and they are being represented. So moving on, Trina's husband was arrested for an assault nearly 2 years ago. That's what I'm telling y'all, guys. You do wrong, that shit's gonna catch up to you, no matter what. No matter what. It doesn't matter how long you might think you've gotten away with the situation, and it bites you in your ass when you least expect it, okay? But Kyrus is his name. Let me see what he apprehended a man and punched him multiple times, breaking his nose after a car wreck incident. The man hit Kyrus after he abruptly stopped at a stop sign. So, you know, I'm guessing Kyrus popped out, you know what I'm saying, and showed these niggas, you know what I'm saying, what time it was. But honestly, to me, it sounds like it was his fault if you abruptly just, you know, stop at a stop sign. But then again, you know, the man should have also seen the stop sign. To me, both of them are in the wrong, but he got his ass beat. And now these allegations are coming back on Kierce, and he is arrested and he is in jail. And this is backlash on Trina, seeing that she is the art, that she is the artist or the bigger artist. I don't know if he's an artist, rap artist, whatever the case may be, or if he's in the industry. But this is going to fall back on her as far as your name being involved, you being the biggest artist within this situation. And it makes her look bad. It makes her look very poor, very poorly misused and misguided. So, yeah. In other news, Remy Ma throws shade to Pap and his new lady. You know that he is dating the boxer Clarissa Shields. She threw shade at them at a performance on stage. So I guess she's feeling butthurt about the situation, about Pap moving on so vigorously and moving up. I guess you could say that. Remy definitely has a staple within the hip hop industry. But Clarissa Shields ain't nothing to fuck with. You know what I'm saying? I guess she's up and coming and she's in a different league, as far as being a boxer. But Remy really can't say shit. I mean, the way that you did Pat, I mean, you had this guy sitting out here looking like a duck. And, he had to do something to level up, like he had to do something to regain, clarity for his name after you, played him. Moved on with another nigga that looks like him, like a knockoff Pat. Like he had to do what he had to do. So, to me, that's just game and recognizing game. She really shouldn't be upset. She really shouldn't have shit to say. She should move on. Get up with Fat Joe and get another hit or something. I don't know, but you really just need to let this shit go. Seeing that you were, the main one who started all of this shit in the first place. And on the other side, flip side, Toya responds negatively to Lil Wayne's marriage. I don't know. I haven't heard about Lil Wayne getting married, but I guess he's getting married. And Toya has some backlash about that. Maybe because he never married her. But, I mean, she is married, right? She has a new baby. Well, not a baby anymore, but she has a family. So, her being upset at Lil Wayne getting married with all of his children, including her child, Reginae. Well, she's pretty much a grown-ass woman now, out here knocking heads and dating frivolous rap stars herself. I don't think Toya should have shit to say. I think she should have just congratulated him. Big ups to Lil Wayne. Maybe he's at a point to where he realizes he's going to need somebody to take care of him when all of that scissor and weed starts to compile his inner workings. And he's going to need some help. He's going to need somebody while he's on his deathbed. So, maybe he's just thinking long-term, longevity of what he needs in his life. And, he's come to terms with that, and he needs someone that's going to be able to change those, depends, So, moving on, Kanye West. I think he's, we all know that he's flipped his lid a long time ago. But, he's firing shots at J and B and their kids. That's a no-no. We all know that. We all know not to involve the children within grown-up shit. So why is he on Twitter making remarks about J and B's twins? He's basically fueling the rumors of the in vitro process that they went through to conceive the twins. And, basically calling them retarded. That their cognitive development is slow. Is not on track. How would he know this? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? To me, like they shield these twins very much to where I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm just now getting around to seeing pictures of the twins, which by the way look nothing like Blue Ivy, which goes back to one of my earlier episodes. speaking on who her mother just might be. But that's allegedly, and I digress. I'm not going to get into that. I'll leave that for Wendy Williams whenever she gets her ass out of this guardianship and out of that facility. We'll leave that shit for her to cipher through. But you know what I'm saying? I don't know what the deal is with Kanye. Maybe he's trying to get attention from those two. Maybe he needs more money from Jigga. I don't know. But what he needs to do is focus on his shit, because meanwhile, while he's doing this and posting all of these allegations on two of the biggest stars in the hip-hop world, Kim is filing for full custody of all of her children, which he fathers. So he needs to focus on that. Focus on his mental health. Focus on showing up to his concerts and actually dropping the albums when he said that he's going to drop the albums, because he has fans. He has people that are waiting on this. So, I feel that Kanye has a lot more things to focus on than throwing shots at two children of the biggest hip-hop artists in the hip-hop world. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Kanye, you need to focus on your own issues. And you might need to go dig down Kim and get everything in order with that situation so that you still have some sole custody of your children. I don't know what she wants from you. Maybe it's more money that you don't have, because as far as your clothing brand, all of your stuff is pretty much on wholesale and like Targets and everything else. So, you doubled down tremendously, and we all know about the advance that Jay gave you a couple years back and deaded your ass. That was the last thing he did for you, and he was like, look, man, you take this money, figure your shit out, we cut. And you know how Jay is. When he cuts a motherfucker, he cuts a motherfucker, and that motherfucker is done. So, in other news, we have 2 Chainz, who claims that one of his employees robbed him, stole TVs and sofas from his nail shop. He won't be able to get this shit back. And, he's not pressing charges. He just wanted people to be aware of the situation, since he is such a nice guy. You know what I'm saying? He's not mad. He's getting mad love from other people within the hip-hop industry on how he handled the situation. So, they're pretty much like blessing up 2 Chainz. They know, that he's a good guy, that he always tries to look out for people, that he stays in his lane, and, he stays out of the way, and he does his little Fruit Loop rapping, and he keeps it jiggy across the board. So, I guess he just got in his feelings of, feeling like, damn, why am I always getting knocked? Why am I always the one getting fucked over when I'm trying to manage and maintain myself, and put people on, So, Chainz, that's just the way that the shit goes. That's the way that the world goes. If you're not out here being a lion, you're a lamb. And lambs get their ass ate up every time. So, but bless up the Chainz. He don't have to worry about shit. He just has to keep doing what he's doing, and he will manifest more things, new things, and continue to grow his businesses. So, you know what I'm saying? Let that heifer, your ex-employee, have that. Let her have at it. She probably won't have none of that shit within the next year, and I'll probably be looking for another come up. So, you just keep her on your radar and know not to fuck with her no more. Bitches is scandalous. So, in other news, I really don't want to talk about this shit, but we have to talk about this shit because it's definitely affecting a lot of people. Trump and his antics. Trump has dismantled the Voices of America, working on dismantling the Department of Education, which we all know We all have been keeping up with that. Hopefully you've been keeping up with the news, and staying woke out here, because he's doing something every day, every hour on the hour, actually. He is also reversing Lyndon B. Johnson's executive order way back from 1965, which led the workforce barriers from women and people of color. So, basically he's stamping this order, which helped women and people of color actually secure jobs with companies that wouldn't hire them because of their status, of their color. And he's trying to reverse us back to Jim Crow. So he's dismantling that as well. This will create a dire situation for women and people of color as far as work-wise goes. So, basically what I can tell everybody is, stash these next few checks that you're getting, because we don't know what's to come. We don't know what he's going to do next. We might all just have to move back in with each other and hold each other down. All that I can do is think of how sweet things would have been if, people weren't drinking the Kool-Aid and put Kamala into office. We all would have been getting our Social Security. We all would be getting our income tax. We all would be advanced with our Medicare and Medicaid, the Child Care Act. We would have been, flourishing as, the great America, and not moving backwards to the great white America. He's definitely trying to take us back. He is dismantling statues that are uplifting black people, black history, and he is replacing those with the Soviet Union statues and things that were knocked down due to all of the police brutality against black people. He is reversing all of that. He's putting back up statues, tearing statues down, taxing the shit out of us. Tariffs are continuing to grow. He's finding new ways to make money off of us and keep money out of our pockets. Trump's a motherfucker, and I don't even think we've made the first 100 days yet. I mean, we're still in the realm of the first 100 days of him being in office. So we got a lot more to see, guys. It's going to be a lot more that hurts us and hinders us as a whole. And we already got people out here protesting and marching and, we are going to have to kumbaya and stand together. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there who are planning and plotting on taking him out. Allegedly. Don't you quote me on that. We might need to take that out. But anywho. Oh, yeah, speaking of, we're still on Trump. He's isolated the U.S. out of NATO, so therefore we have no protection from any other countries if we end up going into war. He has revoked security clearance for a lot of people, including Biden, Kamala Harris, I'm sure, the Obamas, so that nobody is allowed within the White House, within any of these government departments in Washington. So, he's a slick motherfucker. He's a slick. When him and Elon Musk are running things, and I guess he has appointed a position for Elon Musk. I'm not for sure, but he's making a lot of changes. He's putting Kennedy in charge of the healthcare, in charge of nutrition for our children. He's also putting Kennedy in place of special need care for children, especially after he dismantled the Department of Education. Loans and things like that will be moved to the Small Business Administration. Special needs care will be under Kennedy. And this is the guy who just told us to just let the bird flu fly and let us all just get fucking sick. So we're dealing with that, to me it sounds like they just want us all to be dumb and watching BET. Going back to not knowing shit, not reading shit, not expressing shit. Back to being slaves, back to Jim Crow. So, oh, yeah, he also cut off the funding for helping children out in Africa. That's dead. He doesn't care if they're dead. What else has he done? Oh, he is bringing in a law to where police do not need a warrant to search your home. So if you're out there, selling pounds, doing whatever you do, allegedly, they don't need a warrant anymore to check you. You're just going to get your ass taken to jail. So, as my father would say, keep a job and keep your nose clean and try to stay out of the way. We kind of have to run and hide like the Mexicans, allegedly. And speaking of the Mexicans, everyone of different national origins run for cover because it's like he's trying to send us back, race by race. That's not the white race. Allegedly. I have to say that so I do not get banned and my video is not taken down. But it's a lot more to come. He's cutting black holidays. So if you're thinking that we're going to be off for Juneteenth, that's probably not going to happen. Martin Luther King Day is probably going to be the next one getting cut if it's not already cut. We're just going to be working for the man, at the plantation and following master's orders, pretty much. So if you haven't been keeping up and staying woke with everything that's going on, because I know it's so hard to see his screwed up face on TV, but we have to stay up, we have to stay woke and aware of what is going on, because a lot of things that he's doing is going to be hitting us at home, and it's going to be real hard to fathom. But we're going to have to make some changes as a whole, as black people, as a community, And, we're just going to have to stay prayed up. And I believe that this is the whole reason why he is in office, to bring everyone closer to God, bring everyone closer together and understand that we're in this as a whole. There's no more, levels to it. There's no more middle class. It's either you're rich or you're poor. And most of us fall into the poor category. The rich are the ones that are making the rules, and the poor are the ones that are having to follow. So it's going to be a lot of changes over these next 4 years, and hopefully we'll have a chance to vote for a new president within the near future. But I believe he's making his way to staying in office forever. So we definitely have to continue to watch, stay aware, and hold your head. So let me see. Moving on to local news. You guys know that I'm a Huntsville native. I'm here. This is where I'm at. I'm in the city, but the Steve Perkins case, which, took place out in Decatur, Alabama, that's about 20-30 minutes from where I am. He was shot and killed by a police officer a couple years back now. They're finally taking that police officer into court. He has to explain to the judge and make him believe that this incident was self-defense. They're trying to say that Perkins, became an aggravated black man when his car was being repoed. They claim that he had outstanding balances on his vehicle, and that's the reason why, his truck was getting repoed. Other news was saying that, they got the wrong person. They came to pick up the wrong car. Either way it goes, he got killed for being an aggravated black man trying to protect his home and protect his things as they came to his home. He was in his home with his family, and they came to his home. The way that everything happened was a little skittish. The way that the police were set up, the way that the repo men were set up around this man's home, everything just, they didn't follow protocol as far as what they would have normally done in this type of situation. It was kind of like an ambush. It was kind of like a setup, allegedly. I have to continue to say that with the things that I am expressing and talking about. But Marquette will have to get the judge to believe that this was self-defense against an aggravated black man who has lost his life, who has a family, who was married and had children, who had a mother, who had a father, who had friends, who had people who cared for him and that loved him, and cannot be here to speak for himself. And with all the time that has passed, I'm sure that Marquette has set it up to have the judge in his pocket. They have set it up to, make things look the way they need it to be for them to continue to rise. So he went into court this past Tuesday, and now it is on the judge to decide. He's going to take his time to decide. But after the decision is made, the case is going to be put to rest. So, hopefully I'm wrong, but I'm sure that he's going to get off his charges and move on with his life. And we're going to have to mourn Perkins for the rest of our lives. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully he gets sentenced to life in prison for slaying an upstanding black man. But the world that we live in, and you know how they do do us as black people. So with that being said, my condolences go out to the family of Steve Perkins. We miss you, brother. We love you. And we will forever lift your name up within this city. So, moving on to, I guess, a little bit of happier news. Here within the city of Huntsville, the Orion Amphitheater will be hosting career camps to teach students about the entertainment industry on June 11th through the 15th for grades 9 through 12 to explore career paths in entertainment, hospitality, and tourism, which is going to be creating pathways for the next generation. So this is, an upside to all of the down and mournful news that I've given you guys within this hip hop industry. We're looking to give and to instill into the next generation. All right. Like I told you, I just had my 34th birthday, so I'm pretty much seasoned. I'm pretty much sitting my ass down and speculating on all the hip hop news. All right, I'm not getting involved within this industry. I've been around a long time and see what the industry can do to the best of the best. So, as far as my era, as far as my generation goes, we done. So all that I can do is instill experience, expertise, and knowledge within to the next generation, and pray that this world has mercy on my son and all of these other babies and children coming up in this world today. So if you have children between the grades of 9 and 12, that's high school ages, take them out there to the Orion Amphitheater. Get them to experience something new. Get them knowledgeable about the entertainment industry. And, you never know where it may lead them, we have to start instilling into our next generation, making them knowledgeable about what's going on within this world. Give them opportunities, give them options, give them hope. Okay? With that being said, this is another episode of Hiphop.info the podcast with your girl Lechi. I'm signing off. I gotta go to church.